The one who was caught and tortured by the Pakistanis was from the Jat regiment, if I remember. Now, if you follow what is given in the textbook, the same textbooks
are also given to them.
Are followed by the Pakistanis as well. So they know that they will follow the spur lines. And then the 2 grenades were inside. The moment I threw the grenade inside, one chap ran out and came out. And this guy who was there on the top, my buddy, he shot him and killed him. In that altitude, carrying even 100 grams extra is like, it's like very, very difficult. And then we realized we're carrying this dud stuff. And then, I'm standing there. The only thing you can hear is your heart pounding. Dug, 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 dug. We work on the principles of Naam, Namak and Nishan. That flag of honor should never ever come down.
It is indeed my great, great honor that we have with us today a veteran. So ladies and gentlemen, ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಇವತ್ತು ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಟು ಬ್ರಿಗೇಡಿಯರ್ B.M. Cariappa sir, Veer Chakra Sena Middle. Namaskara sir, Jai Hind and a very, very warm welcome to my show.
Thank you, Pallavi. It's such an honor for me. This is the first time I'm coming into a radio studio and recording like this, and I'm quite excited speaking to you.
ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೀರೋ ಆಫ್ ಬತಾಲಿಕ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಕಥೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ. ಏನಕ್ಕಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾರ್ಗಿಲ್ ಯುದ್ಧದಲ್ಲಿ, ಕಾರ್ಗಿಲ್ ವಾರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ there were so many stories that came out, and a lot of them have learnt about these stories now because of social media, now because of maybe the movies are being made. But ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬಾಯಿಂದಾನೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಥೆಯನ್ನ ಕೇಳೋಕೆ we're all very honored, and of course I'm sure all of my listeners are waiting too. Sir, now let us go back to the beginning. When you heard that there is a imminent war that might take place, ಕಾರ್ಗಿಲ್ ಯುದ್ಧ ಶುರು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ ಯುದ್ಧ ಶುರು ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಈ ಸುದ್ದಿ ಬಂದಾಗ, ಈ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಬಂದಾಗ, where were you posted, and ಇದು ಬಂದಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಇತ್ತು?
ಇದು ಶುರು ಆವಾಗ at that point of time my battalion, 5th battalion, the parachute regiment, was deployed in Siachen. Siachen glacier, for those who are not aware, it's like one of the most difficult places, active and difficult places in the world.
Yeah.
Temperatures go down to -50, -55.
Wow.
There is ice everywhere. It's like the altitude is so high that you can't breathe properly. So anyways, I had done 2 stints over there. One stint is of 3 months.
Okay.
And before that, I was there for a special operation with, I was training the Ladakh, 2 teams of Ladakh scouts for some specialized operation. So I spent quite a considerable amount of time. And when I was doing my second stint over there, that's the time we had this system of connecting to the satellite phone right from the forward areas. I spoke to my sister over here, and then I got to know that my mother was seriously ill. And then she informed me that she's got cancer.
Okay.
And she's not likely to survive. But I was given a specialist task at that point of time, where we were supposed to be digging a tunnel at 5,700 meters. Now, I was in this dilemma that I've been given this task. Should I finish this task and then inform? Because if I don't finish this task and I inform, it could be misconstrued. Okay. That I was trying to shy away from this. Because it's very, very difficult. 5,700 meters means 5,700 meters above the sea level.
Sea level. Wow.
So there, if even you trying to break the rock or the ice, just with that ice axe that you have, just twice you dig into the wall, and you're breathing heavily because there's so less oxygen.
Oxygen on top. Huh?
So it's like, as though you run 5 kilometers and come.
Okay.
So you're really breathing heavily.
Okay.
And it's like, it was quite an arduous task. And the idea was that we dig through the mountain so that we could observe an enemy position which is across the mountain. Because if you're on top of the mountain, you'll get silhouetted.
Yeah.
So you will be identified very quickly. I was sitting, obviously I was, worried at that point of time that will I be able to see my mother before she goes away. And I was sitting a little sad that day. So my soldiers who were there with me, and when you're there in those forward posts, it's not like you're a sahab and everybody else is working around you. You're doing all the work that the soldiers doing as well. So we used to have competitions as to who'll dig out the maximum chunk of ice. So I used to be digging, my soldiers used to be digging. We were 10 of us over there, and there was a nursing assistant, battlefield nursing. He was a nursing assistant. So his job was to keep the stove burning.
Okay.
Because the only thing that doesn't freeze over there is kerosene. So all of us had become experts on how to run that pump stone with the pin and all those things.
Yeah.
Parimal, this guy, his job was to keep the water, because we had to take off our gloves to dig. So if you take off your gloves, your hands freeze. they freeze within no time because it's so cold. And you can't hold any metal with your bare hands because the skin will get stuck on it.
Yes.
So you have to wear, a glove. Really, really bad. So I was sitting there. That day I was not mingling with them. So these guys came and asked me, my guys, Ki, Aj, what is the matter? Why are you quiet? So I told them that this has happened and I'm wondering what to do. So the company commander, I was a captain that time, the company commander, then he got the message that today Saab is sitting very sad. So then he gave me a call. His name is Manish Bhatnagar. He gave me a call and he said, Kya baat hai, Carrie? What happened? So I told him, nothing. I don't want to tell you because I don't want the commanding officer to know. Commanding officer he's the one who's commanding the entire unit. And then I told him that this is the story and don't tell the commanding officer. We are about to finish the tunnel. Once I finish that, then I'll tell him myself. But he could not keep it to himself. So the commanding officer gave him a call and they were having a kind of this thing. So he turned around and told him that you do not know what are your soldiers and officers going through, Carrie is sitting over there, his mother's got cancer and, you sent him for the special task over there. So my commanding officer was very upset and he gave me a call on this thing and he told me he will come down right now. So I had to tell him that no, I will not come down. I'll finish this task and then I'll come down. Anyways, in the next couple of days I finished the task. I was sent on 2 months of leave to Bangalore. 2 months went by. My mother, then the doctors, they said that she's likely to live for another 3 weeks. So I came back to went from Bangalore, I came back to Siachen and then I was sent back. He says, don't worry, you don't have any more leave. I'll get you attached to the para center. So I was sent on a 2 months attachment to the para center. Now while I was here in Bangalore, that time the news started coming. It was not like that there was a war imminent. It all happened suddenly. When the snow starts melting, those places where the war was being fought, it's like a very, very difficult place. People, at least over here, who have never been to Ladakh, even if you've been to Ladakh, you've not been there to those forward areas.
Yes, we've not.
You cannot comprehend the kind of level of difficulty in those areas. So the snow level, in a season, there could be up to 40 feet of snow. And if you're sleeping in a fiberglass hut and you're not having a sentry outside, keeping a watch on the snowfall, by morning you cannot open the door because the entire fiberglass hut is covered with snow. And then you have to dig your way like a rat through the snow to get out of the fiberglass hut. So it's like really difficult. Inside the only thing that keeps you warm is the kerosene bukharis, those heaters. The smoke from the kerosene, it percolates inside, it's circulating inside. Unless you have so you're breathing that and then when you spit, it's only black spit. You snort out, phlegm, it is all black. You can't shave because it's so cold. The moment you put your blade on your skin, it gets stuck. Your eyes become bloodshot red. You lose your appetite. So people who are, even 80 kgs, they come back just barely about 45 kgs. And then all that and you're eating only tinned food. You're eating, dehydrated onions and dehydrated potatoes and milk powder, things that you possibly would have never ever had in your life as a normal human being. So you're eating that. All this has a very telling effect on your body. You lose your memory, people lose their hair. It has a long-term effect on your body and things like that. But yet, despite all that, our soldiers are there, they're still fighting. Anyway, so while I was there in Bangalore, it came out in the news that, that Saurav Kalia's petrol has gone missing. And then after a while, we got to know that these bodies were returned and they were very badly, mutilated dead. Pulled out the nails and cut off the genitals, removed their eyes, used pliers and pulled out skin from the body. They were very badly tortured. Then we got the news that there was a helicopter which was shot down. Then there was this Nachiketa's aircraft MiG-27 that was shot down. Then another aircraft was shot down. So it was obvious that there was something very terrible happening over there. Though the place where the war was happening was further to the west. My unit was in Siachen that time. Siachen, we didn't have any such kind of major issues happening. Then my mom passed away. I finished off with the last rites and then I still had about, I think a month and a half, offhand I don't remember, but about a month and a half I think was left. So I went to the center commandant, deputy commander in the center, parachute regiment training center. And I requested him that the purpose for which I was here is finished. I need to go back. There's a requirement for me to get back. And I went back to Siachen. When I went there, I realized that there was a desperate need for acclimatized troops. If you're operating in a high altitude area, above 9,000 feet, so you have to do certain exercises so that your body gets used to that lack of oxygen and that atmospheric pressure and that cold and those kind of things. So above 9,000 feet, it is 6 days. Then when you go above 12,000 feet, it is another 4 days of acclimatization. And when you go above 14,000 feet, That's the third stage. You have to do another 4 days of acclimatization. So the total acclimatization period is about 14 days.
14 days, yeah.
And in the meanwhile, it had become full blown by the time I went back. So there was a lot of action happening in Diwas. There was a lot of action happening in Kaksar and those areas, and Batalik. So there were two teams, two companies of my unit, which were already there in Siachen. They were picked up from there and they were taken into Batalik. That day evening, we were sitting and we had a makeshift kind of a mess. We're having sitting there in the mess, and my commanding officer gets a call that there's a requirement of another officer. And I was the only one available, so next day morning I was packed off to Batalik. Thing is, if I have to explain everything in so much of detail, this, I'll probably take
it's a 3-hour movie.
It'll take a lot of time. So let me just keep it a little brief. So I landed up over there, and there the problem in Batalik, unlike the other areas, is Batalik never came into the news.
Yes, it didn't.
Because the places where we were operating was way too deep from the road. The initial place where headquarters was, or the base was it was a trek of about 6 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours from the road. So you had to climb up all the way 6 hours to reach that particular base. And from there we had to go and launch the attacks, which was way too high from there. Unlike in Diwas, while you're standing on the highway, you could see Tiger Hill and Tololing and all those, those places where Vikram Batra and Padampani Acharya, they had gone. They are visible from the road. Batalik was a very difficult area, so there were no reporters over there. So it was very convenient for them to, set up the cameras and all those things over there and interview the people on the highway, but nobody was covering Batalik. So as a result, Batalik didn't get that coverage, despite the fact that it was a very, very much more difficult area than Diwas.
Yes.
The mountain peaks are much more higher. Conditions are much more difficult. Reaching, those areas where the battles were being fought was much more deeper inside. So anyways, I landed up over there, and then I was told that I have to go to the brigade headquarters. So in the night, we were walking up, and en route I met soldiers from my unit and soldiers from another, sister unit of my regiment, from 10 Para Commando. So they told me that they're all, because there was a lot of mixed news coming, that there are militants who have infiltrated and come, there are terrorists who have come, and then I realized that there are no terrorists. They are regular Pakistani army troops from, Northern Light Infantry and Frontier Force of the Pakistani army. And anyways, I reached the base over there, and then initially I was given a task which was like quite a suicidal kind of a task, where, there's a Adam base which was to be raided. So luckily my commanding officer landed up over there, told him that this is quite a suicidal task, and if you go ahead with it, these troops who are going in for the raid, they will not survive because we don't have any information. A raid is a very precise kind of a task. You need to know how many sentries are there.
Yes.
How many troops are there inside, which is the route in, which is the route out. You have to have that data. There was no data at all.
Okay.
It was very sketchy. So anyway, so then there was a, it's like a long valley. Onto the west of the valley, there's a long mountain feature which is called Khalubar. On the east of that valley, there are fingers from, the fingers of these mountains coming down like this.
Okay.
One of those fingers, which was actually coming right into the valley, was a finger. It's a feature called 5203. 5203 is the peak
number,
which means 5,203 meters above the sea level. So it's denoted in meters. So it boils down to about 17,000 plus feet. So there were two assaults which had gone on to 5203. There was another Kalia who lost his life there, Amol Kalia. The one who was caught and tortured by the Pakistanis was Saurav Kalia from the Jat regiment, if I remember. Amol Kalia was from 12 Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry. So his assault had gone in. There were about 14 soldiers who lost their life in that. Then there was another assault which had gone in by the Ladakh scouts. So Subedar Anchuk Dorji, he lost his life, and there were another 13, 14 soldiers also who lost their life in it. So totally that feature had already taken the lives of about 28 soldiers. After I spoke to my commanding officer, he went and spoke to the commander over there. The task was given that I should capture, once again, try and attempt to capture 5203. When I studied, I had that one day with me to go and assess as to how did the previous operations go. They went totally by the textbook. Now, if you follow what is given in the textbook, the same textbooks
are also given to them.
Are followed by the Pakistanis as well. So they know that they will follow the spur lines. So we decided that we'll defeat, do something totally different from the textbook. So we decided to take a very steep route. Anyway, so we were about 70 odd chaps who were climbing up. When we were climbing up, without going into those intricate details, two other companies of Ladakh scouts, I was made responsible to control the artillery fire. And then we were climbing up. It was very, very steep. Very, very steep. But the problem was I was not acclimatized. It was my third day over there. Now, the other problem was that the officer, the reason I was sent in over there was that the previous officer who was there, he got into a little trouble.
Okay.
So he was asked to step aside. I was given charge of the same company, and then I had to go up. Now, if I would have turned around and said that I'm not acclimatized, it would have given a bad name to my unit.
Yeah.
We work on those principles of Naam, Namak and Nishan. That flag of honor should never ever come down. I couldn't have possibly let that happen because, it's the izzat of my unit. I can't possibly let that down. I'll be tarnished for the rest of my life. So anyway, so I didn't tell them that I'm not acclimatized. So we climbed up, and sometime around 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, when I reached up with 5 of my chaps, and then I turned back and saw there was a large gap between my the 5 guys and the rest of the large gap. If I waited a little more, we would have got daylighted. And, we were behind a huge rock, and a little, there's a gradual slope on the ridge line, right? We were on the top of the ridge line. On the top, we could see that there was a bunker, there was enemy firing from there. Now, to the south of this particular feature, there was another mountain peak where I had asked one officer from 12 Jackalai that you establish a medium machine gun over there and you keep this guy engaged so that he doesn't look down. So he really looks in the front. So, because if they were not engaged, they could have, it's on the top.
Seen everything, yeah. At least when you watch.
It's not like this. It's like, it's like that on the top. So there's a little space. And on the top, there's that bunker was made with a huge flat rock on the top. Very huge.
Okay.
So even if a RT shell fell on it, nothing would happen. A Bofors bomb falls on it, nothing would happen.
Okay.
So they had dug below it and made a kind of a wall.
Oh. Okay.
And in that, they had 2 loopholes. So it's like maybe 2 feet by 2 feet. Really thick walls. I, along with another chap, if we waited, we would have got daylighted and we wouldn't have been successful. So there was one chap with me who had the light machine gun. So I told him that once we reach a particular spot where we could be exposed, start firing at the enemy. Till then, he didn't know we had reached the top. So myself and this other guy, we went from a side. I told that chap to climb on top of the rock, flat rock on the top.
Okay.
And from the side I went in, and I decided to put in 2 grenades. When we reached that open spot, this guy opened up with the LMG, light machine gun. I took out the pin of the grenades and I took a step and put the 2 grenades inside and then stepped back. That guy had his barrel like this. Luckily, right on my face. So luckily he didn't press the trigger by instinct. He panicked and he stepped back. And then the 2 grenades were inside. The moment I threw the grenade inside, one chap ran out and came out. And this guy who was there on the top, my buddy, he shot him and killed him. I was there outside that bunker, so I had the rifle in my hand, and we were waiting that the grenade will explode, it'll explode. And the grenade, they were all faulty.
What?
They were not exploding at all, that entire lot of grenades. And we were carrying them, in that altitude, carrying even 100 grams extra is like, it's like very difficult. And then we realized we're carrying this dud stuff. And then, I'm standing there, the only thing you can hear is your heart pounding, thug, 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 thug. And then when, we are all paratroopers, so we have this drill that when you jump out of the aircraft, you do 1000, 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1000, 4, up. Then you look up and see whether your canopy has opened. In this case, I was counting, 1019, 1020.
So the grenade to blow?
It's supposed to explode in 4 seconds. And then you're wondering what to do. So I put the barrel inside so that one magazine of bullets, I fired it wildly inside. Now the thing is, we do not know how many of the Pakis are inside and how do you get inside. So I went around. The exit of the bunker was from behind. So myself and this guy, we decided there's a drill that you follow when you're doing room intervention. I said one covers the entrance and the other one enters. So the moment we went in, we saw the 2 grenades lying there. And there was a little fold inside the bunker.
Okay.
On the top, there's a rock. There's a little fold. So when I threw the bunker from this loophole, there are 2 loopholes. From one side, I threw it from here. The grenades landed up over here, close to the entrance. And these 2 guys were over here, this side. And they were all like this. But they were shot up. When I put the barrel inside and fired wildly, so they were shot up, badly shot up. So these 3 guys we killed, and that was the end of the... In the meanwhile, we heard the Ladakhis, screaming from the other side. their war cry. And then I picked up my radio set and I spoke to the base. There's this officer by the name Indra Balan. So I called him and I carry for Balan, code word Sona. Sona was the code word that we've reached the top and we are successful. And there was jubilation. Everybody shouting at the...
How awesome.
That was the first success in metallic.
ಇಂತಹ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಕಾಂಟೆಂಟ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಆಗಿ ರೇಡಿಯೋ ಸಿಟಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನೆಲ್.